Hello everybody, welcome back for some StarCraft 2 action. We got Serral going up against Reynor's Protoss in the Homestory Cup semifinals. Homestory Cup 24. So, to spoil it a little, players are allowed to switch race in between games. Not series, that's games. So it's a little different between tournament series. I'm pretty sure that IEMs always kind of allowed race switching and race picking within a series. But for example, WCS, I think for the longest time, forced you to pick one race at the start of your best of 3, best of 5, best of 7, and then stick it out with that race. When I played Dutch regionals as well, we always had that rule where you pick your race at the start, and you keep playing that race for the entire series. But here at the Homestory Cup 24, Reynor is allowed to pick or repick his race every game. Now, I'm not clear on who gets to pick first. I guess the first one is just random, or not random, double blind pick for the first game, after you know the maps. And then I guess loser picks second? Like in Smash it's a little different because there they have a different veto system as well. So in StarCraft we usually had ABBA, which basically means player A vetoes, then player B vetoes twice, and then another veto from player A. And then you have 3 maps left over, and then you just pick back and forth. And that's usually for best of 3. But, for example, now with 9 maps, we do it a little different. We do like ban, ban, pick, pick, ban a bunch more, and then more picks. But in Smash, for example, they veto until they have 1 left over. That's your starting map. That's usually the most neutral for any matchup. And after that, they will allow the loser to pick the next map, where you can't pick a map that you've won on previously, unless your opponent allows you to. And in best of 5s, you don't have a ban, and in best of 3s, the opponent does get a ban. So it's like, oh, you lose on the first map, then your opponent does get to, or you win, your opponent does get to pick the next map, but you can veto one. But in StarCraft, it's very different, right? Because you pick all the maps before, and where I wanted to go with that is that in Smash, you can counterpick a character every stage, but if you pick the stage, then you also reveal your character for it. Or no. So the winner stays his character, or picks his character first, I think after you reveal the map, and then they pick their character. So basically, the loser gets double advantage there, if I have it right. If it's wrong, doesn't really matter, right? But the point is that... Ooh, Phoenix coming out from Reynor. The point is that you get to counterpick your race, or character, every map. Whereas in StarCraft, usually you can't do that. But now, for Radhuset Station, Reynor has elected to go Protoss. I'm not sure whom's map pick this was. I'll check it out after this game to lend a little bit more credibility to this story. And I'm liking this already from Reynor. He's going for 1 Phoenix, just kind of like a Viking, and then going back into Oracle. So Serral actually cancelled his speed and is going into straight up... Oh, that's such a cute position to put a creep tumor. But he's going straight into just more drones, into a lair, expecting Phoenix play here, and versus Phoenix play, you just need a lot of minerals. So, no speed. This is such a cute position, though. Serral mined this out, and now he could spread creep outside of his third base, but instead he elected to get his real third base over here. That's a nice trick for you guys on the ladder. This Phoenix finds a second victim, and Reynor going up to a pretty fast third base on this map. Now going for Forge, Twilight Console, and a couple gateways, so kind of a standard follow-up now that he does have 3 oracles in total. And on Serral's side of the map, we see a Roach Warren, we see an Evo Chamber, and we see Overlord Speed as well. So this could be the German Taxi, although I only see 6 queens, so I don't think so. Oracles go in. Phoenix goes in to lift one of the queens, so it can't do DPS. Plus, it hopes to get shot by this Spore Caller, but Serral could, of course, retarget. So the Oracles take the damage, but still very nice. A couple drones died there, and we see an Infestation Pit. So, probably going to be making some Swarm Hosty boys over here, which are pretty good on this map. We, of course, have this giant, like, dead area. So at the back of your natural and kind of the front of your third base are both very vulnerable, but also if you take a fourth over here, you can get sieged from down here as well, and even just like Night Eye in the middle of the map. We see Serral spreading out his slow links here as a web for a vision, getting 11 roaches here already. So might also just be looking to either defend a certain attack or do an attack of his own. Of course, Reynor could be moving out at any moment with these 3 oracles and a Blink Stalkers. The Blink is halfway done. Serral, of course, doesn't quite know that. We see a Hive and Hydrodank coming out, so perhaps just skipping Swarmhost altogether, going into Hydras and then Lurkers eventually with a little bit of a Roach buffer. More oracles fly on in here. Get a couple more drone kills. 4 more drone kills. Going down here, 10 drone kills in total, so pretty solid here for Reynor, and already getting up a 4th base. Doesn't have... Oh, wait, I'm like, he doesn't have any units, but his units are in the middle of the map. And, oh, yes, Serral, the GOAT himself, going for Swarm Host play. If he wins this, best unit in the game. If he loses, Serral's just bad. I mean, let's be real, it's kind of a meme unit, so let's see how Serral uses it. We do get this Nidus Worm, which is super good here, so your Swarm Host don't have to walk all the way across the map. We, of course, don't have a creep highway extending all the way to the back of Reynor's bases. We have a pack of roaches out here as well. Speed now finally finishing for the Zerglings, and a bunch of Zerglings being added on to this Roachling army. Nidus Worm does go down with about 10 Swarm Hosts, so this first wave could do a lot. There's actually a Forge out here that could get sniped. It only just started the upgrade, so it wouldn't be huge, but still annoying for Reynor to have to rebuild that. Do see +2 in charge underway as well. Phoenix sleeping on the job, and the first Locust wave does go out. Lands onto the Forge here, and trying to sneak into some the probe line as well. Second Nidus does go down. The shield upgrade did get denied. We killed a Forge, we killed a Pylon, and we did a lot of damage to this Nexus, actually. But it didn't die. +1 attack wasn't enough. And a lot of Zealots here in the natural were dropped by this sneaky War Prism over here. But the Roachling did do a good job of defending. And now they're both kind of playing whack-a-mole here. Reynor trying to whack-a-mole these Night Eye, whilst Serral is trying to whack-a-mole the War Prism, whilst Reynor is whack-a-moling the Nidus. I don't know, I might be confusing their names, but just make sure the Protoss is Reynor and the Zerg is Serral. We see another load of Locust going in here. Nice job by Reynor forcing them onto the ground earlier. They're, of course, slower on the ground, they block each other, and they can't go over unpathable terrain. So you'd rather keep your Nidus or your Swarm Host Locust. Rather keep the Locust in the air. Bad pitch of ADHD today. A couple more Zealots running into the natural mineral line, but get completely cleaned up by these roaches. No, oh, never mind. Another Locust wave comes out over the gold base now. This Nidus did go up. We see a Stasis Ward ready to make sure that these Locusts don't die, but Serral, nice micro, swoops down with a couple and now goes in to snipe the secondary Nexus. +2 finishes during the snipe, so even helped out a little bit. And of course, Stasis Wards are super good against Swarm Hosts, because if the Locusts land and they all get stasised, the timer of the Locust still goes down. So, if you stasis a Locust, it's as good as dead. Because it will expire before stasis is done. Locust, or Oracles find another Nidus. A bunch of Locusts are being thrown into the third base, though. But now, how are these Swarm hosts going to get away? A lot of Stalkers are ready to go onto the chase. Where we're going to watch the Locust here. And they snipe the third base right away. Could put a Nidus there to block the Nexus from being rebuilt. But he wanted to save a couple of his Swarm hosts. But instead, all of them get picked off. I think only 2 or 3 got away. Double Spire play coming up. But there's a lot of Ling Roach. I think these Stalkers are kind of stuck. We might see a recall happen, or these Stalkers are just going to fight to the death. Third base has been replaced, and we also see another 5th base coming up. So Reynor really expanding as if he's a Zerg. But he's only a Zerg player, not really playing Zerg pieces. See a Nidus in the main there, and these Stalkers traded themselves off against a bunch of Roaches. But still, a lot of Stalkers do go down here. Serral going for 5 Lurkers here. Does have a Lurkers upgrade. And he already has range. And now also getting Burrow Move. We see +3 range coming out. Damn, double Spire. And wow, 6 Dropper Lords gonna go ahead and try and abuse this big unpathable terrain area. And we see 2 Locust spawning Swarm hosts coming out, and they burrow. Oh, it looks so funny when they burrow. They do it so slowly, even though they don't use burrow to siege anymore. They still have that super slow burrowing animation that they had. Legacy burrow animation. And now 6 Dropper Lords being loaded up. Bunch of Lings, bunch of Lurkers. Looking like Brood War right now. On the other side of the map, we see War Prism being annoying still. We see a couple minerals being mined out there by Serral. Maybe he wants to open up this path? Or maybe, yeah, I don't know. We see Crater Spire coming out, okay. Crater Spire, double upgrades. On the other side of the map, we see this big drop coming in. A couple Lurkers, couple Lings, some Roaches. But the Immortal Colossus Archon army standing tall. We have an Observer. And we even have a nuclear battery committed to mitigate all of the probe losses. Damn, look at this stasis ward. Just completely preventing this small run-by to do any damage. And then there's already Warpin. 2 Swarmos over here. Just chucking Locust. 1 Swarmos over here. Chucking Locust. Love it on this map, very good. Swarmos are kind of high in supply, so you don't want to keep a lot of them around, but as long as you can gain some value with these, I wouldn't even hate like them being placed even closer, because you kind of want them to die, but you don't want to run them in willy-nilly just yet. Because it takes a lot of time for Reynor to deal with this right now. Do have a War Prism over there, another War Prism over here, 2 War Prisms. We also see the Fleet Beacon and the Stargates coming out, so possible future carrier transition coming out. But Serral kind of ready already. He's double Spire, couple Corruptors are out here. Reynor could delay that transition a little bit, try and force Serral to commit to more of a ground-based defense. Like, if Serral has to defend against, how many Immortals do we have? 8 Immortals. You want to make these Broodlords, for example, that don't deal well with carriers at all. 2 Lurkers and a Zergling now join the 2 Swarm hosts in harassing this base. Lurkers being put very far apart. Serral just kind of pulling Reynor apart here. More Dropper Lords are ready for some action, but haven't been filled up just quite yet. But these Lurkers so annoying. How is Reynor going to deal with this without detection present? I don't know if he still has those oracles. No, he does not. So he actually has to send over either an observer, make an oracle, or get enough cannons up. No observer speed out just yet, I think. Yeah, it looks a little slow now, doesn't it? A lot of Roach Hydra ready for a drop. We see a Locust here. So this is an escort Locust wave. Very popular in the Bronze League. And the 2 Locusts do jump into the mineral line. High DPS units, so could provide a little bit of value. But big recall here shuts down the drop. But units do get evacuated, but the Locusts do get left behind. This one Roach might get a little bit of value. And this Phoenix still on the map. Already 6 kills, getting a 7th one. This is such a value Phoenix this game. Look at these upgrades from Serral, getting +2 air, +2 carapace, +2 melee, and +1 air. Same for Reynor, going +3 shields, +3 armor. We have another forge, but he already has +3 attack. We see +2 air coming out. Double robo, triple Stargate. So Reynor can kind of get what he wants here. Is he gonna break down these rocks and try and... Yes, he is. So he might just go for an assault here. Boom. And now there are no probes here. There is a spore crawler that's going to give his life another drop on the other side of the map. Both players trying to abuse this backside base. 3 stalkers do get a little bit of value, but that's a lot of lurkers. We have a lot of cannons building here, but the Zerg units are already present. Oh, both cannons do get targeted down. Now we get more cannons finishing up. We see batteries finishing up. And this drop has been held. A 6th base going on for Reynor as well. Using or abusing the lack of mobility that Serral has right here. Serral has invested a lot of resources into these 8 Broodlords and now getting a bunch of investors as well. So kind of a Wings of Liberty-esque composition. Let's see what Reynor's response to that is going to be. Is he going to do the Heart of the Swarm response, where he builds Tempest? Or is he going into the Legacy of the Void response, where he just kind of make too many Stalkers and blink on them consistently? Or just, you know, sit back and make carriers? That would be a little boring, but he could do it. We see Ultralisk Cavern here with Ultra Speed as well. Serral feeling rich. And feels like he can prepare himself to go into the super late game, as well as Reynor. Both players, of course, have enough money. They have a lot of upgrades. They already have a lot of production structures. I would say that this is kind of like the end of the late game still. Super late game is really when nobody really has to make any more upgrades. They don't have to make more production facilities. They're just focused on building the correct army. They will be sacrificing probes or drones. They'll be building up a big bank. And, well, we got the bank, but we're not quite done with upgrading yet. See how many resources both players are still spending on those upgradey boys. Now, Reynor, so active with his army, really. Just constantly running around, and you see that Serral is just kind of sitting back with his giant lurker army. Some Broodlords as well. Like, I don't think Serral can ever die, but he can also never quite kill Reynor. We see 4 more Stargates going down here for Reynor. So when the time comes, when he has a little bit of supply and money, he can make 6, 7 carriers at a time. Queens get caught in the middle of the map here. 6 Infestors are ready to show us the Wings of Liberty PTSD combo. And the Corruptors are here to destroy at least one of the Colossus. Wow, nice blink forward. Reynor just taking a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th and 8th base right now. And so he already has all of the bases that are technically his. If you would split the map down the middle, it's either you get the top 2 bases or you get the bottom 2 bases. Or I guess if you split it down the middle exactly, you both get a gold base, and yeah, you know what I mean. But Serral hasn't quite been able to get these 2 bases, so we need to see Serral fight for those. At least one side should kind of become Serral's side. And we do see these Overlords ready to perhaps put down some Nidus Worms. And I feel like Serral's being super passive here, but he has a lot of area to cover. But he's also just super rich, and maybe he's like, okay, you are a fake Protoss player. So if I just go into the super late game, you can't beat me. I am Serral. I am inevitable. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting here from Serral. Serral almost finishing up all of his upgrades, but Reynor is just doing the same thing. Only thing that's really lacking behind is that plus air armor upgrade. It's only just +1 right now. Oh my god, the first blink onto the Broodlords has occurred. One Broodlord did just die, and then we saw a bunch of fungals ruin the day of these Stalkers. Damn, these Broodlings now don't stick around very long. Another Broodlord gets assaulted here by the Stalkers. Oh my god, another pack of Broodlords was being morphed with this one Archon. Don't need no Archon toilet to deal with the Broodlords if they're just morphed in front of your face. And we do have 6 more Broodlords here fighting the good fight. Oh my god, the Lurkers uprooted and ran forward and just threw a bunch of spikes onto this big clumped army that was completely fungaled. And you see all of these expensive units, especially these Immortals, in the red. But Serral does hold. And on the backside here, Reynor has a gold base, has this bottom base, and he could perhaps even start taking these other 2 bases, which would mean that he has more bases and eventually more resources than Serral at his disposal. Wouldn't surprise me if Serral is trading a little bit more efficiently, but it's only 2k resources, that's nothing. Like, that's one warpin of Stalkers or Zealots. Oh my god, blink in once again, but Lurkers and Fungal are very good at killing Stalkers, I can tell you that. But we have 20 gateways on the map, 20 gateways. Now, we saw a bunch of Zealots being warped into the natural here as well, but we also see 6 carriers coming out, whilst these Zealots wreak havoc and keep Serral back in his own main base. That's where I'm going down. 6 more Infestors being added on. How many Infestors is that in total? That's going to be 9 Infestors. So we might see a bunch of Microbial Shrouds coming out against those Infestors or Interceptors from the carriers. Hydras and this one Queen try to clean up the remainder of the Zealots, but we have another War Prism here, really causing havoc in the bases of Serral, and Serral is just kind of stuck, running around in his own base, dealing with all the pricks that Reynor is giving to him, kind of like a mosquito. The Italian mosquito. That's the name of his Protoss. And we see Cracklings going up against max upgrade charge slots here, but the Zerglings run away from that fight by burrowing their heads into the sand. Cannon will make sure that eventually they will get taken out. The Overseer here actually sees that there is a carrier in production, and we see an immediate 5 Spore Crawlers coming out from Serral. Reynor already has 5 carriers on the map. We have the -300 Mothership underway, which honestly is quite a good unit right now. And Serral just kind of doing his best Wings of Liberty impression. Like, if you would tell me that Stefano played this game 10 years ago, I would believe you. Except for the fact that Lurkers would be in the game. Now let's see. Serral has 1 mining base, 1.5. About 2 mining bases right now. 2.5. Whereas Reynor, oh my god. Reynor, well, he lost 1. We're not counting this one. Has 1, 1.5, 2. Oh. So they're kind of equal, both 2.5 bases-ish. I was kind of expecting Reynor to just have way more money, but his 3rd base is, of course, way, or especially this 4th base is way more mined out than I'd expect. Reynor actually saving his base over here. Mothership came to the rescue. We still have these 8 Immortals, and still this... Oh my god, we see a recall from like half a screen away. Time Warp going down. Part of the Swarm PTSD coming in as well. We have all of the PTSD in this game. And now these Immortals are just going to click down this base and destroy it. We see a lot of drones going down to these charge slots. 15 drones go down, putting Serral below 50. Now a recall out, leaving almost all of the Immortals alone, except for this Immortal and this Archon. I don't know if they are going to be saved here. Not quite as immortal as he would have liked. But that does put Serral kind of on one good mining base. Ooh, yeah, in total, this is a devastating blow to the economy of Serral. Whereas Reynor still has plenty of bases to put his probes. He just hasn't, like, constructed as many probes as you'd expect in the super late game, really. You just want enough workers to kind of replenish your bank. But you want a big army. And these army supplies do make sense in the super late game. How many Broodlords are there? It's like 9 Broodlords. With the 9 Infestors and a lot of Corruptors. 21 Corruptors with 2 Vipers. Ready to yoink in any amount of Void Rays or Tempest or Carriers. Oh my god. Reynor actually mining out the back door here. And now Serral has to defend on 2 fronts. Versus an army that can just kind of shimmy back and forth. And of course it's very important for Serral to take this base because he's not getting this top base and he's definitely not getting that gold base. This knight is somehow still up in the back. Big ground army over here where we have the air army plus storm over here. We saw 2 yoinks of the Void Rays going into the army. But we did see feedbacks and storms going down as retribution. Now, Reynor's slowly but surely pressing his whole army into this backdoor space. And I mean, is he just going to click down the third base again? All of the Broodlords are here, though. Slowly but surely, the cavalry is trying to arrive, but I feel like these Immortals are stuck in Helm's Deep, and the reinforcements are just going to arrive a day later. Gandalf arrives, and he's like, yo, what? Where are you guys at? Just hold out for 4 days. What's the problem? Well, this is the problem. Broodlords are the problem. They are more fearsome than Uruk-hai. And now again, this 4th base going down to Reynor here. Serral still maxed out. Only 40 workers, more to fall potentially. And Serral just doesn't have a base anymore. It is this top base. This base is basically dead. Dead base, dead base, dead base. So Reynor just playing the war of attrition very well here. And we see another one of those big blunks forward into targeting down the Broodlords. Of course, Fungal isn't what it used to be, so can't punish these Stalkers quite as much. And also the Broodlings, their duration being slightly lower than before is really showing here. But we do see decent trade here for Serral. Reynor dropping to 130 supply, but still with a good bank. And decent worker supply as well. But he did lose his gold base to this big swell of cracklings. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure who's winning here. I feel like Reynor is in a more decent position because he has 2.5 very healthy bases compared to this half base of Serral. Now trying to take this bottom base once again. Also taking the top base now. So kind of scrapping for a good base here. Reynor, if he manages to take down those bases or just deny those bases once more, I don't know what Serral can do. His army is so immobile that he can only defend one of these, and he has no creep at either of them, so he can't put down a Spore Forest with a bunch of spines and whatever, and he doesn't even really have the money anymore to make more of those. Oh, there go the long-range Broodlings. And as you can see, the top base got denied, and now also the bottom base got denied by Reynor. So really just kind of choking out Serral of this game. And he's playing it cool, calm, and collected. Reynor not even maxing out right now. Really preserving his resources to get the units that he really needs in this situation. The Void Race trying to use that prismatic alignment to snipe the base once more. Wow. The Archons, though, are just enough, together with the Interceptors, to really deal with these Broodlings nowadays. Archon Zealot army here pushing into a Lurker line. Yeesh. That doesn't look promising at all. And as you can see, Serral can take this bottom base now, whilst keeping about all of his army here. But this top base is pretty much undefendable for Serral because Broodlords can't put themselves into a Nidus Worm, so they can't get to the other side of the base. And because Serral doesn't have a Spore Force, he can't throw Broodlings into the back here either in an attempt to deny that base. He's trying to get that creep forward slowly but surely, but creep spread ain't as fast as it used to be, and now Reynor really taking all of the bases on this map. It's like the map is mine. What are you going to do about it? Using the map control. Oh my god, we got an Ultralisk. I'm glad he made at least one, because we got this Ultra Den, we got all the upgrades for it. Would have been such a tragedy if there was no Ultralisk built at all. More Infestors coming out, which are of course very, very cost efficient over the long run. Especially if you look to be going into an endgame mode where Serral is basically going to be broke as a joke in the near future, which then it really makes sense that he wants to get these units that can just get infinite value over time with their energy, neural parasite, and such. We did see some neural parasite in the middle, but haven't seen widespread use of it yet. Maybe he'll build a Nexus. That would be great. Oh, actually moving forward with the spores. Oh, he feels the need to get this base. And we see neural parasites coming out onto the Tempest. Really nice catch because they do bonus damage to these carriers, of course. But, you know, shield batteries are pretty good. We see... what's it called? Microbial Shroud. The anti-air defense cloak from the Infestors. And now we see Serral going for this gold base. And this is really the effect of these bases having less minerals and gas in Wings of Liberty, or in Legacy of the Void, compared to the previous expansions. You really have to get out there and get those bases. Get that map control. But another base does get denied. A Broodlord, oh, actually gets transfused and will survive. Look at Serral's money. It's not great. Does have this base now, but the gas already mined out. Top base completely dead. This is the last mining base of Serral. He has about 100 gas left. And that's all the gas he has this game, unless he gets a new base. Truly the endgame experience for Serral right now, but Reynor is just sitting pretty. Has mined all of the gold minerals, actually. Wow. That went faster than expected. But now also getting this top base. So really up at least a full base on Serral. And of course that goes both ways. It's -1 for Serral because he doesn't have this base. But it's +1 for Reynor because he does have that base. So it's actually a discrepancy of 2 bases in total, which is huge in the amount of resources that you have in total. Now we do see Reynor trading way less efficiently in this game, but it's working out. He's keeping map control by just throwing resources at Serral. Serral finally getting himself into a position where he can deny this base now. So slowly but surely, Serral actually fighting his way back. And look at that, 6 workers in each gas. Because he just wants to long distance mine the gas if need be. Well, we see neural parasites going down onto the Archons and onto the Immortals, but they are being targeted down here by the units of Reynor, and he knows. Just click down the base, because I don't want to give Serral any money. Actually doesn't commit, but now goes back for it after pulling the army out of position. Oh my god, all of the feedbacks onto the Infestors. All of them die. Only 1 Infestor left. We had like almost 10 Infestors on the map. And wow, Reynor just pulling Serral apart here. A double blunk onto the Broodlords. And a GG is called. Reynor takes the first game for Serral in this best of 5 with his Protoss. And Reynor takes the first game as Protoss, which is a little bit surprising. Starting a little late in the second game, we see Reynor going up against Serral for the second game, and Reynor switched back to Zerg after getting that confidence boost by beating Serral with Protoss. And now I kind of feel like he has a mental edge over Serral. Like, that was a long-ass game, which I'm not sure who used more brain power in that one. I feel like Reynor had to, like, work way harder for his meal than Serral had to work to stay alive, but that's just speculation on my part. Both players doing exactly mirrored builds. Going hatch first, getting that gas, getting pool, and we see speed starting from both players basically at the same time. Keeping 2 in gas from Reynor. Only 1 in gas from Serral. Leads me to believe that Reynor wants to get a little cheeky, get a faster lair. Maybe get a couple more banelings than is per usual. Now both players do get third base. But we see that Reynor actually up in workers right now. But that will straighten itself out sooner rather than later. Queen really wants to get this Overlord, but probably not going to happen. Reynor scouts the third base, other side of the map. Serral also scouts Serral's third base, and this Queen is also hungry for a little Overlord snack. We see a Baneling Nest in the front from Reynor, but none of that stuff for Serral. He has no Baneling Nest. So he might make one a little later, but he might also just go for like a Roach Warren Evo Chamber. But he's just making 20 lings instead. I guess that's also viable, right? Like instead of going for Banelings, you just make way more Zerglings, and there does come a Baneling Nest, whereas the Baneling Nest for Reynor already almost completed. Serral doesn't see that at all, though, but we do see a lot of links going out to the third base of Reynor, and Reynor did see the move out, makes 3 Banelings of his own, and a Roach Warren in the back here. Lots of Zerglings coming out. The Queens are coming off the line to try and help defend this third base, and it doesn't get cancelled by Reynor, but that means he kind of needs to go and defend it, but it is going to go down by this big Ling Flood from Serral. Immediate rebuild here from Reynor, but that means he invested a lot of gas into this Baneling Nest, but didn't keep his third base with it. I mean, that just kind of puts Serral ahead, right? Like, yeah, he has a Roach Worm, but without a lair, you're not moving out with Roaches ever. They're too slow. So now we do see the third base is rebuilt, but it's only halfway done here. We see a couple Roaches coming out, but they are purely defensive Roaches. And if you're Serral, you can just drone, and have a couple Banelings ready in case Reynor decides to do a Lingbane attack. But you've got these Overlords ready as well to see anything coming out. We do see somewhat of an attack coming with Lingbane and a couple Roaches. I feel like Reynor's just faking this. Does make a couple more drones, yeah. Like, I would not be surprised if he just turns around here. Yep, there he goes. He turns around. And Serral did make a couple Roaches here to respect the move out. But of course, Reynor can't really saturate a base right now. He could oversaturate his natural a bit. But this move out, of course, only supplements that. You see a lair from both sides, slightly faster on Reynor's side. I'm interested to see if he goes for a Spire play here, which Spire feels pretty decent when you're behind if your opponent doesn't go Spire. But if Serral does go Spire, then he's just ahead 2 gases. But Serral here scouting for these gases, scouting for the saturation as well, and even gets into the main base. Oh no, he does see the lair, but I don't think he saw that Spire. No, he did not. Do you see Overlord speed coming out from Serral, kind of preparing himself for a Roach-on-Roach battle. Do you see +1 on both sides as well. Reynor super behind in the worker count here. Oh my god, doesn't sacrifice the Baneling there to stop the scout. An immediate scout from Serral there. Sees this Spire coming out, and I don't know if you can do anything as Reynor here. I guess you still commit to making like a couple meters, because look at all these Overlords on the map that you can still kill. You can also snipe Ravagers if they come out onto the map to try and snipe your Overlords, or just to be used in Roach-on-Roach fights. Like, the mutas will buy you a bunch of map control whilst you drone behind it. Do you see a Dropper Lord here from Serral? There is Overlord speed, so he could just load up a couple Banelings or some Roaches and go into the main base of Reynor, for example. Try and get a little bit of damage done. We see 3 Mutalisk being built. 4th base down, immediately scouted by Serral as well. We see a big flood of Roaches going out from Reynor here. And they're each other's equals in the Roach fight, but there's no +1 here for Serral. Reynor should stand and fight, I believe. But instead he retreats. He's like, that is a lot of Roaches. And now +2 is underway for Reynor, but Serral also has +1, so no upgrade advantage anymore for Reynor. He does get his mutas out, which are now targeting down individual overlords. How many mutas do we have? 5 mutas in total. I like that number. I think that's the exact number that one-shots drones. It's either 5 or 6. I'm not sure. It might... yeah. I think it's 5. But he's mostly just here to kill lings, apparently, and overlords. Try and get a semblance of map control here for Reynor. And what do you do if you're Reynor? He does get a second Evo Chamber, I like that. Gets a bunch of Ravagers here, but you're going to be stuck on Roach Ravager. You could maybe attempt to get a lair or a hive here and get a couple Vipers, but that's super expensive. You'd rather just have like 20 more Roaches. Especially if you can somehow get the upgrade lead, which is kind of what Reynor is trying to do here with this fast Carapace. If he can hit a 2-1 timing, then that's going to be pretty fast. But Serral already maxing out. Might go for an attack with +2 Hydra range. And just go. He will have the more efficient army, especially because there are no mutas. And they're of similar worker supply. So if you're Reynor right now, you don't want to have a straight-up fight occurring, especially not on your side of the map. Although if +2 finishes a little earlier, then maybe it's okay. We do see the rocks going down here. The mutas are consistently getting swatted away by the Hydralisk. And now Serral is showing his army underneath this one Overlord. Reynor doesn't... I don't think he wants to fight now, does he? You do have a Spore Crawler here to get this Overseer away from his army. Because, of course, he doesn't have any Hydras, and his mutas are trying to be annoying elsewhere. And now we see, oh my god, Lurker and Hive coming out for Serral, so he has a big tag advantage. But Reynor does have a +1 upgrade advantage by having +2 earlier, and he'll also get Carapace, which will nullify one of Serral's attack upgrades. So he's going to be up an upgrade for quite a bit. He does have a decent bank here, getting an Infestation Pit of himself now. So might go into the Lurker Boys or just Vipers. Or, I don't know. I don't think you can go Broods, but, you know. At this point, you're kind of grasping at straws. I guess Infestors would be nice. Corrosive Biles, making sure that Serral's army has difficulty engaging. You still have these 3 Mutalisk, and Reynor kind of wants these mutas to die now, because he just wants more supply for Roaches. We do see a Hydralisk then, and a Hive coming out for Reynor, so he's like, okay, I'm completely maxed, I need to spend my money on something. Do you see Roach and Roach movement speed? Or Roach Burrow movement speed? See, Burrow and Roach Burrow move, not speed. Also +2 Carapace, but we also have +1 Carapace coming out from Serral. We see Lurker range coming out, and Reynor just can't get a position on any of the bases of Serral. Serral's viciously defending his 4th base and the heart of his bases. To believe in the heart of the bases. +3 now coming out for Serral. And this makes it very hard for Reynor. I don't know if he can ever do anything. Big run by here from Serral, actually just running into the base of Reynor. Reynor lose a couple drones. I don't know if he wants to replenish those. He does. So Reynor plans to stick it out into the late game here, get his own Lurkers up somehow, some way by doing all of these run-bys. Oh my god, Lurkers are very good at doing damage to Roaches, but we still see quite a bit of damage being done here But it's just Reynor's army supply dwindling whilst Serral is still maxed. Runs up to this 5th base of Reynor and kills it right away. And there's just no army units at all at the base of Reynor right now. But Serral doesn't quite capitalize because, of course, he doesn't know where the army of Reynor is at that exact moment. Do see these 2 mutas still chilling. And worker counts both around 70 supply. Reynor is about to get the upgrade lead again, and now he's adding on the Vipers before he gets Lurkers, because then he can yoink the Lurkers of Serral out of the ground, whilst still having a pretty massive ground army himself. We see Serral double expanding now. Reynor gets on top of this base over here. Bunch of corrosive vials forcing these Lurkers to uproot. 4 Vipers coming out for Serral, though, to make sure that he can yoink the Vipers of Reynor into his Hydralisks, and so that those Vipers die, and then the Lurkers reign supreme. Reynor, though, staying in this game. I felt like he was very behind, but just pure tenacity, just staying in this game, and now he's actually making Hydralisk, preparing to make Lurkers of his own. Beautiful army movements coming out of Reynor to stay in this game. Now we do see a 3 Lurker hit squad here. See a bunch more drones going down. Because of this one Roach, I suppose. 4 kills. The Burrow Movement Roaches doing their job. Whilst this 5th base again being denied by Serral. Reynor would really like a 5th base by now, but it's not happening. Does get his Lurkers of his own now. Has a couple Vipers, so after a long road of twists and turns, both players kind of arrive at the same place, where both of them have Lurkers, they have Vipers, and they have all of the upgrades. But Serral is up a base. He does have these additional geysers, whereas Reynor is still kind of trying to get that base. So you can't help but favor Serral a little bit here. He's also probably been more cost efficient. Yes. And he's been mining more, so... Oh, we see the yoinks. We get 2 Lurkers yoinked into the army, and there we go. Oh my god, all of the Vipers get yoinked in. Oh no, all of the Vipers are dead. 0 Vipers on the side of Reynor, and that might just be game. Oh my god, nice Umburrow. Does get 2 nice snipes onto the Lurkers. Lurkers have quite a bit of HP. And Reynor just has to go for counterattacks right now. He can't fight straight up after losing all of those Vipers. You need those Vipers to maintain and break siege positions. And since he can't do either now... Oh my god, Serral actually losing 36 drones here, but is somehow still chilling on 56. These 2 Mutalisks trying their best to be annoying. But it looks like all of the counterattacks from Reynor have stopped. We do see Serral kind of dipping in supply. Mostly those drones that he lost. Somehow, some way. Reynor's still in this game. But Reynor only has this base that he's just starting to mine from. And 2 half bases. So... he's going to be running out of steam really fast, where Serral still looking pretty good. Did lose that top base, though. Actually, Serral kind of scrapping for a base as well. Look at this top base as well, getting harassed by these roaches. Reynor really playing his heart out here. And now finally getting to a point where he can start replenishing those Vipers himself. Do see 4 Vipers still on the side of Serral. And let's see what he uses them for. You don't want to waste your yoinks on like random roaches, or maybe Ravager could be okay. I feel like if your opponent has like 6 Ravagers, which I think is enough to one-shot a Lurker, then you can yoink like a Ravager, making sure that they can never kill a Lurker full to 0 with the Corrosive Biles. Okay, both players kind of chilling for a bit, getting their own 5th base up and running again. Reynor making it back to max as well. Both players on 55 drones. More Vipers coming out for Serral here. And Reynor has a big subterranean assault moving in. Now, if we look at Reynor or Serral versus Lambo, that did not end up very well for Lambo, but it might go better for Reynor here. That's a lot of roaches. Going on top of the third base here, clicking it down, and they do get the kill. And basically from minimal losses, very nice here by Reynor. We do see some lurkers from a lurker drop here, denying the mining of Reynor's bases. Although, I guess the base denied itself from mining by mining at the mineral. Yoink onto the Dropper Lord. Making sure that the Drift Bloom unit can't get away. But another base of Reynor now getting harassed. Just a new fresh base for Reynor, immediately under siege by Serral. And Reynor does go for counterattack here, but oh my god, the roaches, oh my lord, look at how good lurkers are at destroying roaches. All of those roaches just immediately evaporating. Of course, lurkers do bonus damage against armored, and roaches are armored units. And it's splash damage, so it goes south really fast. Big yoink on that one lurker there, and Reynor feels like he can't keep this position with Serral already in position. And now Reynor just one mining base, half a mining base. Oh my god, slightly out of position there. Immediately all of his lurkers get yoinked. His Vipers couldn't cover his lurkers by either pulling the Vipers of Serral in front or pulling his lurkers back, I guess. I don't think a lurker has enough HP to do that, but that would be funny. Or just throw down blinding clouds to bail them out. And Reynor, all he has left is some lurkers, some Vipers in a dream, only 160 supply, no real mining base anymore. This one lurker, dude, this is so sick. Just running in one lurker and burrowing it, it takes so much APM to deal with, right? You need to send a couple roaches and an overseer or a Viper or, you know, like something. You need to send an observer type unit. So something to give true sight or, yeah, an overseer. Oh my god. Vipers being pulled both ways. Hydra's killing a lot on both sides, but we still see a decent amount of Vipers on both sides, and actually Reynor still has some juice in the tank and manages to yoink at least one lurker into its death. You do see the siege mode coming into play, making sure that you get that little extra vision up on the hill without risking your overseers to be sniped by the Hydralisk that have decent range as well. Now we see more yoinks coming in, more lurkers, and even though Reynor is being decently cost efficient, another lurker denying a fifth base once again. And wow, big blinding cloud actually. Lurkers can't shoot. Yoinks coming in, and Serral taking game number 2. And we're here on game number 3. Alcyone is the map, and Serral just tied up the series 1-1. And I hope I didn't spoil it too much by revealing in game 1 that, yes, indeed, Reynor is allowed to switch back to Zerg. And here he is on game number 3, still playing the Zerg pieces. And looks to be going out to get a gold base here on Alcyone. Whereas, of course, these solid players just don't care. They just take the blue minerals. They like it. They like the blue standard. You know, they're kind of like that one guy that, you know, that always has like the light blue dress shirt. It's just like, it's a little standard, but it does look good. You know, it's a good solid option. And that's what this natural is right here. Good solid option. But Reynor is the fancy guy. He comes in. He has like the flowers on his shirt and everything. Like, for some reason there's sparkles on it. You didn't know that sparkles could be on a dress shirt, but Reynor's dress shirt definitely has sparkles on it. Now both players are going a similar build. Now what happens usually when we see people go for this gold base? For some reason they want to go for roaches. And then they just get killed by Ling Baneling. But in this game, Reynor is actually going for Ling Bane himself. Sending out a bunch of drones to the gold base. So he might stop making drones altogether, and he just wants to use this superior economy early on to fuel a relentless Baneling assault going into Serral here. Serral does have 2 drones on gas, so he can easily afford a good amount of Banelings. Doesn't have a third base just yet. Serral, my boy, are you 2-basing? Please, please tell me you're 2-basing. 2-basing is the coolest thing you can do in ZVZ. It doesn't have speed, now does he? Just doesn't have any upgrades. Serral just has 0 upgrades. What is this? I am so confused. I feel like he should start a lair as soon as these queens are done. Oh, we see a Roach Warren and an Evo Chamber coming up, and he is definitely 2-basing. But this is in response to seeing all of these Zerglings move out across the map. 3 queens already done. No Baneling Nest in the back, so Serral is trying to hold this off with pure minerals right now. We do see a lair in the back. And of course, Serral knows about this gold base. And when he saw all of the units move out at the natural, he knew to throw down the wall right away. We do see +1, a range attack coming out. We see a Roach Warren. Quadruple gas though, so it could still be a Spire. And then transition into Roaches, because he doesn't go for Roach speed right away. I mean, he doesn't have a lair yet. Like, he's even sacrificing some mineral mining for these gases, but only a little bit. So just, let's see. I guess he could do both. Just go speed and Spire? No Spire, actually. Just speed Roaches. Okay. From 4 bases, or 4 gases. It's not like you need the 4 gases, but that does mean you can make some extra Ravagers. And also, you are stuck on 2 bases anyways, so might as well mine those extra resources. Will help you get ahead in the upgrade department a little bit. And of course, later on, help you afford any type of tech transition. So I'm trying to get this 3rd base up. So this is a completely different approach from both sides. Reynor going for that early gold base, trying to mine it out as fast as possible, taking a decently early 3rd. And trying to go onto the aggression, and Serral just super passive. He's like, nah. As long as I got my roaches, I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be just fine. Now, Reynor himself transitioning into roaches as well, getting +1 carapace, which is very popular when you go for a lot of lings. They're very good against banelings then, and of course, it also helps your lings versus +1 roaches, because then the roaches still take 3 shots to kill a ling, or 2 shots, I mean, instead of 1-shotting them. I think with +1 attack, roaches 1-shot things. I think. I'm going crazy here. It might be 2-shot. If it, like, gun to my head, I would say 2-shot. With an upgrade lead. And Serral now moving out with the +1 attack, but Reynor already has +1 carapace. Oh my god, this queen really wants to die. And Reynor trying to do a big enveloping move here. Nice creep highway, of course. Does grab all of the queens there. Reynor does. But this is a lot of Roach Ravager. We do see Lynx running by into the natural. Oh my god, Reynor is in the main as well. But this is a lot of roaches ready to clean up all of those Zerglings. And Serral is still up in workers. Because Reynor never really bothered to drone up a 3rd base here. He's being really, like, aggressive with his choices. More drones are going down in the natural, but Serral is holding on a little bit here. 10 drones have gone down, and we see a big Congo line going towards the gold base here from both players. Now look at this creep highway. Dude, Serral is so cool. And now look at this army, though. It's pretty big. And can Reynor hold on here? He just threw away half his army into the mineral lines of Serral. Didn't do critical damage, and Serral is just making more units. The drones are pulled off the line, and Reynor just doesn't quite have the economy and the units especially to hold on here. And Serral doing critical damage here onto the gold base, killing a lot of Reynor's army. But somehow this seems to be stabilized. Oh my god, but no, here are the reinforcements. And Reynor GG's out as Serral had triple his army supply, if not more. And Serral going up 2-1 in this series now on match point, forcing Reynor to go back to Protoss perhaps. Or Reynor really wants to play Protoss on Oceanborn since it is a pretty good Protoss map. Reynor also blocking that hatchery. Just take it from a different Zerg player. That shit is annoying. And so he is blocking the natural here. Serral, of course. Oh, this is also a blue base. That's fine. Dabba-dee-dabba-da. Now, I did promise you in game 1 that I'd tell you who vetoed what map and who picked what map. I couldn't find it. I looked on Wikipedia. The order wasn't there, and I didn't really want to bother going through the entire VOD of the original tournament because that would spoil me. So, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Maybe somebody in the comments knows who picked what map. Because if Reynor picked Radhuset Station and he picked Oceanborn, then it makes sense that he picks Protoss on those maps and just plays Zerg on the Serral maps, basically. And Serral probably went into this expecting that he was going to play a ZVZ series completely. So in that sense, Reynor has kind of a strategic edge there. Now, we see standard stuff coming out. Reynor being super annoying with this probe. Like, he's literally in the mineral line, just doesn't bother to even be at the backside. He's like, no, I'm so fast, I'll get my probe out. You try and surround my probe. Let's see if Serral makes speed this time around. We don't have a Cybercore that is finished just yet. Serral pulling off of gas here, and he does start speed. Might cancel it still. If he sees another Phoenix opener, we do see a Stargate coming out from Reynor, and an Adept is being chrono boosted out to try to abuse the fact that, of course, this natural is misplaced a little bit. So, in line with that, you'd expect there to be an Oracle here being chrono boosted out. But it could still be a Phoenix. It could. That would be cool. That would be kind of stylistic for Reynor then. This is like, nah, this early Phoenix is too good. You deny all of the scouting. They don't know if you're making more Phoenix. You can lift up queens for the memes, you know? Like, you can do a lot with that. Let's see, Adept does go across the map. Secondary Adept is building as well, but is being sent back, not across the map. A little bit surprising to me. So Reynor not going for that double Adept attack, and actually does go for the Phoenix. So is this now just the Reynor build? Like, I don't care if you've been doing this on the ladder for the last 2 years. Like, he's popularizing it in my mind right now. If a professional Zerg player plays this style against the best Zerg in the world, he probably thinks it's the best build. Or it's the one he knows the best. The Goat making a couple Zerglings here. Running towards the third. Try and get something done there. Third base does complete for Serral, so we can slowly start connecting the creep between these bases. Puts back drones into gas as soon as his third base, or natural in this case, has been saturated. Now this Phoenix already has a kill. Trying to find more Overlords, but Serral kind of keeping him back this time around. Did these Zerglings get any kills? We do see that a probe died, so I guess they did get the probe that was building this Nexus. We see 4 Adepts already on the map. Is he going to go like a Twilight Console Glaives? Now we do see 1 Oracle, 2nd Oracle, and a Radhuset Station. He did go Blink and +1. So it wouldn't surprise me if he does that again. Like, you don't expect somebody off-racing to have super big catalog of builds that are super practiced, right? Like that depth is usually reserved for your main race. Now we do see the Twilight console coming down, 2 gateways, but no forge this time. Do see the gases coming out, so it's not going to be one of those weird charge slot all-ins. Extra gas coming down on each base for Serral, making it hard to gauge how many gases there are down. We see a Roachworm, we see a Lair, but I don't see +1 yet. I'm afraid that we might not see Swarm Host this time around. But a man can dream. Adepts are walking up to creep, and they might get like one Zergling kill before they shade on out. 2 Oracles do fly in. Is there a third one? No. Only 2 Oracles, and we do see a Forge right now. So Reynor switching things up a little bit, and we see a Queen March here. The Queens are just marching across the map here. But Reynor, he is constructing more pylons, more cannons, more shield batteries, whereas Serral's just making roaches. He's going to make links. Oh my god, this drone is going to become a hatchery, isn't he? Dude, I'd love an extended Ravager siege here with transfuses in the bank. Lings are here near the natural so that they can either run in or they can wrap around. You know, the hand around the waist is an important concept in StarCraft 2. And there goes a creep tumor. Does this drone just stick around and make a spore or spine? Could also just build a base there, but that's kind of a waste of minerals if you're going this all in. Serral, 52 drones and just rallying out units. And his queens are almost ready to actually transfuse here. And look at the corrosive vials going down. And this makes this fight slowly but surely favor Serral. If nothing happens, then it's just buildings and units slowly but surely dying to corrosive vials. But there is a lot of static D here for Reynor. Force fields do go down. Some of the buildings also going down. We do have nuclear battery committed for Reynor here. But there is creep now for the queens, showing us that, yes, it was indeed pretty OP to have queens that could transfuse without creep. I still miss it, though. Third base still looks pretty healthy, but a lot of the static D has been cleaned up. We still have this nice static or stasis ward, and these stalkers getting so much value. +1, halfway done. Blink about to finish. Oh my god. The third base actually got clicked down by the Ravagers. All of a sudden, the third base is just completely dead from Reynor, and he's in a lot of trouble here. He needs to clean all of this up, get him out of this position. Does restart the Nexus right away, so the creep can't quite deny it. But one more creep tumor jump, and there will be no Nexus for a whole lot longer. And we see a lot more Stalkers coming out. Finally, we do have Blink, so Reynor can start trading even better versus this Zerg army. 51 drones. And if Reynor doesn't overstep, he can slowly start whittling away at this Ravager count. We do have 10 Ravagers throwing down corrosive vials, forcing Blinks very fast. And of course, Ravagers do have pretty good range as well. But wow, Serral actually being forced out here. Serral takes a 4th base, but he's making more roaches. So I feel like there's going to be a follow-up attack here. Reynor moving out with the Stalkers. Does have the line of sight blockers in his favor. Kills like a Ravager still. Kills a Ling. Third base being rebuilt. Robo finally being added on. Bit of an awkward position, but it might not come into play. Still have these 2 Oracles ready to get value. Now Ling run by does occur, but there's Stalker here, there's cannons here. No way these Lings are going to do something. Might snipe like a pylon, but that's about it. And Reynor putting some pressure here on the 4th base. Suddenly, we're liking Reynor's position a lot. 20 probes up on the... Well, never mind. Serral just made 10 drones. And almost equal in workers again. Reynor now up to 70, where Serral has 62. And Reynor just finished his 3rd base again, whereas Reynor's mining wasn't really interrupted. So, as Reynor, you still feel the heat, right? Where, oh my god, I didn't have a 3rd base for so long. This Zerg was just mining and mining and mining. I need to get something done now. Does wait for the Zerglings to pop out of stasis. Gets a couple shots of... Oh my god. Actually only kills one Zergling. That was very anticlimactic. Ooh, a lot of Zerg here, though. On creep. Do you get out here, Reynor? Ooh, nice peeling there with the blink. Just peeling 3 Stalkers forward, 3 Stalkers forward. Or, I guess, backward, away from the opponent's army. Main bases, though, are starting to mine out on both sides. So this 4th base is becoming very important. And Reynor's 4th base has been crept up. So either he goes for a very risky forward for 4th base, or he has to spend even more time clearing creep. Roaches here at his 3rd base, getting decent trades. Enough roaches here, 2 one-shot Stalkers. And away they go. Kind of like the movie Up. Now, these Stalkers still at the 4th base, though. Really annoying, but this army here in the middle of the map turns around because of this pack of Stalkers. And now finally a 4th base going down for Reynor, but Serral has been mining from his 4th base for a little while now. Actually getting Hydra range, getting +1, getting a Lurker Den, getting Hive. So Serral really through the cold of the winter and is now thriving. All of his crops that he sowed have now... Oh my god, no, the one Colossus, oh no. It gets taken down, the supplies plummeting. Reynor got caught in the middle of the map while I was talking about plants. And now, only Stalkers, no more Colossus. 2 Colossus about to pop out though, but this 4th, it can't fall. Serral's almost maxed out, so he's going to force his position onto this Protoss army. But if Reynor loses this 4th base... I don't know if there's any recovering. He's been on such a base deficit for so long. Oh my god, the corrosive vials do hit the Stalkers as well. 140 supply to 180. And the 4th base immediately rebuilt. But is it enough? 5th base is now down for Serral. We see Vipers coming out. Oh my god. And we also lost a Colossus. Oh no, never mind. It's like, what? So Reynor now moving out fast, trying to hit a timing here before the Vipers are out, before the Vipers have energy. But Reynor's army count is very low here. But what are you to do? You can't just sit on this 4th base and hope that you will be okay and just submit to the Zerg. Give him all of the map control. And there goes the 4th base once again. Reynor running back, tail tucked between his booty. And now trying to save his 4th base is being clicked down and it gets cancelled again. 12.5 minutes without a 4th base, whereas Serral has 5 bases, and that is not a position you want to find yourself in versus the GOAT. And now we see 7 Lurkers coming out. Lurker range about to finish up. +2 has started as well. And I don't know, Reynor, I think you have to max out, buddy. That's the only thing you can do. Max out and get a great fight. But the Lurker, Viper, Ravager, Roach, Ling force of the Zerg is now running towards the 4th base. Once again, Serral about to force the issue here. And Reynor, very similar to game 1, is just kind of going around the army and making sure that he can get some counter damage done. But now, no 4th base will be given. 13-20 without a 4th base. That is not a position you want to be in. And now we see Yoinks onto the Colossus, but actually not in range of the Lurkers, but the second round of Yoinks do kill that 1 Colossus and bruises the other. Still 2 Colossus out here though, but how are you ever approaching this Lurker line? I don't know if Colossus can... I think Colossus can hit and move back before the spines hit them, but Colossus only do decent damage versus light units. So it will take about 2 years before these Colossus can actually clean up these Lurkers. And they put themselves in a very vulnerable position to get yoinked as well by the Vipers. Oh, nice pickup onto the War Prism 4th base. Again, trying to be established at 14 minutes. Reynor really playing his heart out here, but the Stalkers on the right side of the map now getting overwhelmed by just a massive amount of Zergling, Roach, Hydra. Big recall, nice positioning. Loses 0 Stalkers after the recall. And now tries to catch out a couple of these Lurkers, but there's a lot of Lurkers here on the map. 11 Lurkers. Nice clicking on the Vipers here. Still keeping the Colossus alive. Going up the ramp with that vision. Very ballsy there. It does have 2 Disruptor Balls, 3 Disruptor Balls ready to mount a comeback. We see another cancellation on the 4th base, and this is becoming very dire for Reynor. I feel like he needs to get the greatest fight that he's ever had, but I don't see it happening versus Serral here. So many lurkers, and he's just slowly boxing him in, making sure there's no secret base anywhere. Oh my god, the Stalkers can't even get out to do some more counter-harass. It's just, nope, you're stuck. You're caged in by all of these lurkers. And the only thing that Reynor has now is the Disruptor Balls to try and get some type of a comeback. But I think he's stuck, boys. I don't see it happening. We do see 2 Disruptors inside of the Warp Prism. The balls do go out, but the lurkers do have their burrow speed upgrade, and they will just unburrow and run away from these Purifying Novas. And the blink in on top of all of these lurkers does spell the end for Reynor in this best of 5. Serral takes the best of 5 3-1, where Reynor's Zerg got 2-0'd, but his Protoss did go even. Not bad. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this series. Serral moves on to the grand finals, and nobody's surprised about that. Next up, we'll have Clem going up against Skillus. And the winner of that goes into the finals versus Serral. I hope to see you there. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.